Hello, callers. Welcome back to Viva Barça, and welcome to another interesting episode where we are going to be discussing on the latest developing stories. We start with Ivan Fresneda, as it has been reported that the 20 million euro rated right back is waiting for Barcelona anxiously to make an offer. We are going to be discussing on that as we progress. Then, secondly, talking about manager Xavi Hernandez, as it has been reported that Xavi is calm about his contract extension following President Laporta's comments. We are also going to be discussing on that. So guys, as we get right into the full stories, please do ensure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't. Turn on the post bell notification to always stay notified whenever I post a new video. Consider liking the video and please watch it right up to the very end. The right back spot is one of the positions that Barca desperately wants to reinforce, and in that regard, a certain Ivan Fresneda of Real Valladolid has emerged as a target for the team. At the moment, Xavi wants to close other positions that he considers absolute priority, and when it is time to look into fullbacks, Fresneda will be considered alongside the likes of João Cancelo, who continues to be on Barcelona's radars. At the moment, 18-year-old Fresneda has interest from Juventus, Inter, and even Arsenal. Borussia Dortmund were expected to be in the race as well, but they have decided to end their pursuit considering his 20 million euro price tag. Above all, even the player has opted to stay in his home country. Now, Mundo Deportivo reports the right back's agents have already met with Barcelona's delegates days ago, and the player is now waiting for the Blaugrana to make an offer. This means Fresneda is preferring a move to Camp Nou above all, despite the fact that the clubs around him are willing to move fast by covering his release clause. The 18-year-old's current contract with Valladolid runs until 2025, but ever since his side's relegation, he has been tipped to leave. What is even more fascinating is that since the relegation, his termination clause has gone from 40 million to just 20 million euros. At Barcelona, there is some kind of skepticism to meet the 20 million euro price tag, but for that, they are willing to approach Valladolid with a fixed plus variable package to get closer to the valuation. Now, why it remains to be seen what happens with Fresneda. One thing is for sure, the player is attracted by Barcelona and is giving Barcelona enough time, he's giving Barca his full attention. This can be understood by the fact that despite strong interest from across Europe, he is willing to wait for Barca's offer. Ivan Fresneda continues to be strongly linked to Barca, as the right back position remains one of the positions that we need to strengthen heading into next season, and Fresneda has been one of the players tipped to come to Barca in that role. Of course, talking about right backs, Barca's top choice have always been João Cancelo, but considering how difficult it might be to land Cancelo, of course the initial idea was to bring Cancelo on a loan deal, but it looks somehow tricky as the player as well as Man City prefers a possible like a permanent move which is worth about 70 million, where we definitely know Barca can't afford such. So Barcelona are keeping their options open, knowing fully well that going for João Cancelo will be quite tricky. But nonetheless, despite showing interest in Ivan Fresneda, Barca have still not given up on João Cancelo, who remains Xavi's first choice at the right back. But how possible can that be? You know, so Fresneda, of course, has been linked not just to Barca but to some other top clubs around the world. But reports are now claiming that the player is more attracted by Barca. He really wants by the Barca move, despite other clubs showing interest and willing to move faster than Barca to pay his release clause. And Barcelona are in the pole position as it stands to sign the player. And those were the reports that we started getting yesterday, that Barca are in the favorite position to sign him. But internally, they say they have not reached a total consensus about Ivan Fresneda signing, as manager Xavi is still not fully convinced about Fresneda, according to reports, as he does not seem as being mature enough to take over that role for Barca, especially in the European competitions next season. He doesn't seem as mature enough to to compete at the highest level. But other members of the Barca staff believe that Fresneda is a good player and he could make the difference. He could be a good right back for us. And also his age, 18 years old, does he believe that it is for the long term? As he starts so young for Barca, he's going to develop to be a very great player if coached or handled rightly by manager Xavi. So let's see how it goes for Ivan Fresneda, who is still strongly linked to Barca. The player really wants to be at Barcelona by all costs. We understand that most players nowadays, they really want to play for Barca due to the past glory, the prestige, the rich history of this club, more than even the salaries or the offer that Barca offer. Because had it been players were coming based on the offer or the money that they receive from clubs, I doubt if Barca could have signed many of their players that they have currently. So let's see what happens to Ivan Fresneda, as the player looks very certain to join Barca. Then moving on to the next story of discussion, Barcelona manager Xavi sees his ongoing contract with the club expire in 2024. There had been talks about a renewal right after the 2022-23 season was over, but nothing has been made official yet. And recently, President Joan Laporta publicly admitted that the manager's renewal was not a top priority for the club right now, with other matters taking precedence. When the time comes, we will talk. First, there are priorities, and Xavi understands that. We'll talk calmly, and we want him to continue, and so does he. I'm convinced that he will go further. We haven't set a date, Laporta had pointed out in a TV interview a few days ago. Building on the matter, Spanish publication Mundo Deportivo has reported that Xavi is quite calm about the situation and he understands that his renewal process will slow down mostly because there already are several recurring issues at the club. Furthermore, the fact remains that his representatives have already met with the club in order to discuss the issue. In all fairness, Xavi's continuity is not going to be a problem in any way. The 43-year-old is more than willing to continue, and even the board wants him to stay. For that, the team is being prepared as per his scheme of things, which is the biggest indicator that he will remain at the helm. Having taken over the reins of the club in November 2021, Xavi did a solid job of leading Barca to a second-place finish in La Liga that season. Building on that, the legend guided Barca to the league title and the Spanish Super Cup triumphant this past season, earning a renewal with his club. So guys, with that, we have come to an end of this episode. Thanks a lot for watching. Until next time, bye bye.